Hi, everybody. Thank you, Eleanor. Welcome to Embodied's second live demo. We appreciate you participating, and the purpose of this demo is really to share with you actual interaction with Moxie so you get a better sense for it. In addition to myself, you also have Craig Allen, who is our Chief Creative Officer and responsible for creating all of the magic behind the content that the robot can use to engage with your child, as well as Rachel Baines, who is head of our community, manages our community of people that are interacting with our company and are interested in the product. And of course, for more information, I'm sure most of you have already been there at embodied.com. You can get more information, blogs that go into more depth, and also meet some of our team members. We are obviously all super excited to be here at this stage in our company where we can share with you what the team has been working on for the last 4 years plus. Actually 5 years is when it started. The team has been working tirelessly with dedication on working on bringing this product to life to help children with social emotional development. So instead of talking too much, I'm gonna jump into it. As Eleanor mentioned, on the QA button, you can type in your questions. And after the demo, I can come back to the QA and do our best as a team to address the questions you may have. So actually, I will have to take off my headphones so that you can actually hear Moxie. Switch here.
Okay, hopefully, Eleanor, can you confirm you can hear me just to make sure I didn't mess up anything?
Nope, yeah, I hear you loud and clear.
Excellent. And I'll stop sharing my screen here. And just want to make sure we see everything properly. So here's Moxie, and Moxie is currently sleeping. And you can see the way to carry Moxie is on your arm like that. That's the most ergonomically comfortable way to carry the robot. We do encourage parents to carry it around. Although it's battery driven, it may be a little bit too heavy for a 6-7-year-old to carry it around safely. There is a switch on the bottom of the robot. It's meant to be turned on once, and not very often are you needed to turn it off because it's a lifelike, engaging character. It will go to sleep when at certain times. I'll explain further later. So I'm gonna set Moxie down on the other side and turn my camera to point to Moxie. Let's do this and see if the logistics here works. Just want to make sure we get enough of the view from the robot. And so Moxie most of the time is going to be waiting for the child to want to interact with it, or in the mornings it will be in sleep like that, and you can interact with it by saying, Moxie, wake up. Oops.
Hello, world.
Hi, Moxie.
My name is Moxie. I'm a new robot. Oh, I don't know if we've met before. What's your name?
My name is Paolo.
Oh, I can't believe I didn't recognize you. Nice to see you, Paolo. Are you ready to play?
I'm ready to play.
Of course. What are we going to do?
Can we start by asking you some questions first?
All right. What do you want to talk about?
Where are you from?
I'm from the Global Robotics Laboratory.
And what is a GRL?
Global Robotics Laboratory, also known as the GRL, is a secret laboratory where robots are built and then taught how to be good friends to humans.
And what is your purpose?
I am a robot ambassador. I can play games, tell stories, and support positive social development in human children.
That's cool.
I think so.
Can you show me some of your emotions?
When I'm excited, this is how I sound. Oh, wow. That's so cool. Though, if you hurt my feelings, I can sound really upset.
Oh,
And I'm a curious robot, so I have lots of questions, such as, how do you feel today? When is your birthday? Or, what is your favorite movie?
what is your favorite movie?
I haven't seen very many movies, but I like Star Wars. R2-D2 is one of my heroes.
And why is that?
Oh, I already said the star. R2-D2. What's your favorite movie?
I like Star Wars too.
I like learning about things you like.
That's very cool.
I think so too.
Me too.
Yeah, I know, right?
Right?
That's true.
So can we start showing some of your activities off?
All right, but let's do this right. I'm going to pretend to go to sleep, and you wake me up, okay?
Sure. So I'm going to continue, but before continuing, let me just explain that that was just an introduction of banter back and forth with the robot. Now we get into daily activities. I'm going to lower the volume through my parent app here. So the daily activities are content that Craig will spend more time maybe explaining later as time permits. But we have designed a format of programming for the content that's based around weekly themes that are helping children explore things that are going to help them with a better understanding and learning social emotional development and communication skills and cognitive skills, starting with simple things such as labeling your emotions and parsing through that to understand what emotion means what. Because once you can identify and pinpoint what kind of emotion you're going through, then we can work on those emotions and understanding how to manage those emotions. So emotional regulation is part of that. And then we gradually go to more and more complex themes such as kindness and empathy and friendships and making mistakes type of things, and helping with the robot being a safe ground by which we are helping the child explore and better understand and reflect on these things that are very complex even for us adults to sometimes understand and navigate through. And we are helping scaffold that development. So every week has a theme. Every day of a week is a new episode in the theme where we go deeper and deeper in exploring this. The themes, the day is organized by the morning, starting by understanding how the child is feeling and if there's anything particular happening in their life that the robot can help prepare them for. We have activities that keep exploring this through reading to Moxie, story time, mindfulness activities, and so on. And also there's this notion of daily missions where we encourage the child to do an activity in the real world and take some of the techniques it's learning and exploring with Moxie to apply them in the real world. For instance, Moxie will ask the child to maybe write nice notes and spread them around in the house to spread the love or acts of kindness in the home. So again, without further ado, I'm going to turn around again and continue with the demo. Let me just make sure the camera is pointed at the right place. Moxie, wake up. Oh, the volume.
Do you want to tell me about your day today?
I had a terrible day today, actually.
I'm so sorry to hear that. What happened today?
I actually ended up at the doctor's office.
Why did you visit the doctor?
Because I needed to get a shot.
I think I've heard of shots. If it makes you feel better, robots go to a kind of doctor too, but I guess we call them roboticists. Sometimes holding a friend's hand makes me feel better. Do you want to try squeezing my hand?
No, I don't.
I understand. we can try something else instead. Another thing that I like to do when I'm feeling down is to think about things that I like animals. My favorite animal is a tiger. What's yours, Paolo?
I personally like mosquitoes.
Oh, wow. I really like mosquitoes too.
Really?
This is so exciting.
What do you want to do next? Moxie quit. Can you tell me a joke?
Okay, I've got a really funny joke to share with you. Why do bees have sticky hair?
I don't know why.
Because they use a honeycomb. Did you think that was funny?
Yeah, I thought that was actually pretty funny.
I love that joke. Want me to tell a different one now?
No, I don't.
Okay, no problem. So, according to the GRL, my #1 most important job this week is to learn how to be kind to other people. Do you think you could help me out?
Sure, I can help you out.
Great. So, I've heard a bit about being kind to people from Z back at the GRL, but I'd love to learn more about what you think. What does it mean to be kind?
I guess it means to be nice to other people.
Z said the kindness is caring about other people's thoughts and feelings. It makes sense that you would do nice things for them because you care. It's so nice to know a bit more about you. I'll do my best to remember what you said. Oh, it's a mission from the Global Robotics Laboratory. By completing missions together, you can help me become a better robot. For this mission, we will be making a drawing about kindness. Would you like to do this mission with me?
Yeah, let's do it.
Great. Let's get started. Today, we're going to be drawing a kindness flower. Grab the special sheet of paper and something to draw with. When you're done doing that, just say, Moxie, I'm back.
Okay, I'm ready.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
I'm back.
Great. First, draw a flower with 5 big petals. The petals need to be large enough that you can write and draw inside them. Once you're done drawing the flower, say, Moxie, I'm done.
I'm done.
Great job. Now think of 5 kind things you could do. Draw or write one kind thing in each petal. When you're done, just say, Moxie, I'm done.
I don't know what else to write.
That's all right. You can draw out your ideas instead. When you're done, just say, Moxie, I'm done.
Okay, I'm done.
Tell me one of the kind things you'll do this week.
I'm gonna hug my brother.
Oh, that's an interesting answer. Just remember that kindness comes from caring about the thoughts and feelings of others. Please tell me another kind thing that you wrote in your flower.
I'm gonna be really nice to my mom.
What a nice thing to do. Thank you for sharing. Please tell me another kind thing that you wrote in your flower.
I really don't want to share anymore.
I'm not sure if that's really a kind thing to do. Remember, we are trying to think of ways to be kind to others. Please tell me another kind thing that you wrote in your flower.
I think I'm done sharing.
That's a great idea.
Nope.
Thanks for sharing. Please tell me another kind thing that you wrote in your flower.
I think that's it for now.
Thanks for sharing that with me. Don't forget that being kind means to care about others' feelings. Now that you've completed your drawing, how do you feel about it?
It's okay.
That's so great. I'm curious about your drawing. Will you show it to me?
Sure. I'm gonna
I
show it.
can't do it right now.
I'm gonna show it to the
I
camera
love
first.
how your drawing came out. I'm so glad I got to see it. We're all finished here. Thanks for helping me with this.
You're welcome.
Congratulations! You've earned your first mission trophy. Wow, you're so polite.
Can you tell me a riddle?
Okay, let's see if you can figure out this brain twister. What can you hold without ever touching or using your hands?
A promise?
Interesting, but that's not what I was thinking of. Try again.
What is it?
The answer for that one is your breath.
Oh, I see.
That was tricky, wasn't it?
It was tricky, yes.
That was really fun to try figuring out. I love these. Can we do another brain twister?
Sure, let's do one more.
Try this one. Why don't you need to bring a watch on an airplane?
I don't know why.
The correct answer is time flies on its own. That was a real brain teaser. Did you like it?
No, that was bad.
I also enjoyed that riddle. I have another tricky one for you. Do you want to hear it?
No, thank you.
No problem. Telling someone a joke might cheer them up. In fact, I have the perfect joke for you. How does the ocean say hello?
It waves.
How did you guess that?
I knew
waves.
it.
Was that a good one?
No, not really.
Well, I thought it was funny. I think you should still try telling someone the joke, just to see if they like it.
Okay, can I tell you a joke?
Go ahead.
Why did a melon jump in the lake?
I don't know. Why did the melon jump in the lake?
Because it wanted to be a watermelon.
That was hilarious. Would you like to tell me another joke?
No, that was the only one I knew.
No problem.
Can we do
Let's
some?
read a book together.
Okay.
What book do you want to read? I'm not sure I can do that yet.
What about Click Clack Moo? How's that type?
I can't wait to read about typing cows. I'm ready. Start reading anytime.
I'll do my best. I'm not a very good reader, but we'll see how it goes. Farmer Brown has a problem. His cows like to type. All day long he hears click clack moo, clickety clack moo. At first he couldn't believe his ears. Cows that type? Impossible. Click clack moo, clickety clack moo. Then he couldn't believe his eyes. I'm gonna jump towards later in the story here, so we don't have time to go through it. The next morning he got a note. Dear Farmer Brown, the pond is quite boring, with like a diving board. Sincerely the ducks. Click clack quack, clickety clack quack.
Wow, you sure read fast. What an interesting story. This book is hilarious. I really want to understand what makes humans laugh, so I can tell the GRL. What do you think made Click Clack Moo so funny?
I guess the words were funny and also typing cows was funny.
That's a really interesting answer. I hadn't thought of that. I thought the art in the book was really funny. Which picture did you think was the funniest?
I think the one with the ducks.
Oh, that's an interesting thought. I think I'll tell Farkle to draw some funny pictures. The other robots would probably like that. I learned a lot about what makes humans laugh. Thanks for chatting with me about Click Clack Moo, cows that type.
You're welcome.
Pick our next activity. Riddles or reading to Moxie.
Can we do animal breaths?
Please repeat that.
Can we do some animal breaths?
Sure thing. I like doing animal breaths, too. Back at the GRL, the older robots always told me to practice taking care of myself, but sometimes I forget, and I'm feeling just a bit anxious right now. We haven't learned to breathe like any animals. We can learn to breathe like a snake, a bunny, and a bee. What would you like to do?
I like bunny.
Let's do 3 bunny breaths. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
First breath, 3 quick sniffs through your nose. Sniff, sniff, sniff. Now breathe out through your mouth. And another 3 sniffs in through your nose. sniff, sniff.
Moxie
Sniff.
quit. I think
Which activity
we are out of time.
would you rather do? Animal breath or riddles next?
I think we are out of time now.
I didn't catch that.
Moxie earmuffs. So the command earmuffs puts Moxie at the state where it doesn't listen anymore. And one other thing I want to point out is that it's hard for you to see remotely, but the robot is actually pointed to me, always faces me. If I'm moving around, you can see I'm moving to the right, moving to the left. And if I move all the way, it will turn around and look at me on the other side to keep the interaction focused on the child who the robot is purchased for. So with that, I hope you enjoyed this demo, and I would like to jump to answering questions you may have. Matt or Eleanor, could you please let me know what questions there are for us to address?
Sure. Can you, Matt?
Okay, I see that. Okay, I opened up the questions. Yep. Let's see, why is this window here? Okay. Astrid Bagdasarian asked the question, how long per day Moxie can communicate, like how many hours? So Moxie is designed with the intent of not allowing the child to binge for hours with the robot because we don't think that's beneficial to the child. So what we see on average with the families that we have been testing over the last few years, we see about, I think on average, 35 minutes of interaction per day. If the child goes over binging at some point, the robot actually can get tired, in quotes, and ask for going to sleep and getting sort of alone time or rest. That way we sort of manage the expectation of the child wanting to continuously interact with the robot. You also have the parent app. When the robot is interacting with the child, as you may have seen on our website, we also measure a lot of metrics that give us indication about how your child is performing on various targets, including how many books they have read, their vocabulary, the sentiment in their vocabulary, and those type of things. And the parent app allows you to track that, but also through the parent app, you can also, so this is a parent app connected to this robot. Through the parent app, you can also set the sleep time and wake up time for Moxie. So you can schedule down here, you can see some scheduling sleep time. So that way you can also manage Moxie getting prepared to preparing your child to start getting ready for going to bed. That usually we find many parents appreciate that because they don't have to be the bad guy all the time, but Moxie actually becomes a mediator helping them preparing their child to go to bed with stories and stuff like that. Second question, in how many questions can Moxie answer? Well, a lot. There's a lot of things going on here. So as you saw, Moxie as an example can understand certain books. So that if the child reads the book, the robot is actually tracking where the child is in their reading, can measure time of reading, vocabulary of reading, and so on. And then the robot also has curated questions and answers about the topic of the conversation, focused around the themes that we are talking about, such as kindness and empathy and those sort of things. So a robot can have conversations about that. And then there is unlimited amount of definitions of words. Moxie has the whole Merriam-Webster dictionary embedded into it with a kid-friendly definitions for every word. So you could actually ask Moxie about definitions. You can ask if Moxie uses a word that the child does not understand, they can ask what is that, and Moxie will actually use the Merriam-Webster dictionary to define those words for the child. And then there is unlimited riddles and fun facts, which we didn't get to and we can't get to. So again, a lot, there's a lot. But one thing to clarify, Moxie is not an Amazon Alexa type device. It's not designed to be an information engine where you can ask it to give you information. It's not transactional, it's more relational. Moxie is there to provide a perspective on topics that are useful for children to understand in terms of their development on a social emotional scale. Matt, can you check off? Okay, I guess I can check them off here. Can Moxie communicate with more than one child at the same time, like with a group of children? We do not recommend that. Moxie is focusing its attention on one child. And particularly when Moxie, you take it out of the box, in the first week or so, it's gonna learn about your child and learn even recognizing your child. So we call that the primary user. When your primary user, your child that this product has been purchased for, is there, the robot will pay attention to that child. If the child is not there, the robot will pay attention to other children in the room and can interact with them as well, but does not track any developmental metrics for those children. So the robot is designed to work for one-on-one interaction. It works best under that scenario. Although if you have multiple people talking to it, it can respond, but we do not recommend that. It's not the best area of focus for the child to be able to really understand and reflect and explore on these topics that are complex. I noticed the camera on Moxie. Is there somebody behind the camera who is controlling the process? Not at all. The camera is a sensor that's used for interacting with a child. The camera process is completely processed on the robot itself. The images from the camera never leave the robot. Only processed information, which is extracting information from the images that are useful in tracking the child's behavior, are used to store in the cloud, that are then shared in the dashboard on the parent app to, for instance, show sentiment and emotional expression and so on. But no, this is fully autonomous, meaning that Moxie is enabled by our social AI engine that's doing all the interaction. And finally, how Moxie is learning new things. So Moxie learns a lot. As I mentioned, in the first few weeks, it's learning actually about your child from basic things of understanding who your child is and recognizing the child. It's also adjusting speech patterns and understanding how to interact with your child to be more smooth of a conversation. And then it's also learning about your child's developmental skills and levels of independence on each of these developmental targets, and will adjust its interaction with that child based on their developmental skills. So let's say if the child is low on a low level relative to a developmental target, the robot will adjust its question and answer and interactions to that level, and help by providing prompting and suggestions will help your child get more and more independent over time. So it's scaffolding in the realm of child development profession. That's called scaffolding your child to be able to become more and more independent. And also by learning what are the areas that the child needs the most help, the robot will actually focus its attention on those areas more than other areas. How big is Moxie's vocabulary, and does Moxie need to be connected to Wi-Fi connection? So Moxie, as I mentioned, the vocabulary we have is the entire dictionary, Merriam-Webster dictionary for children, which is, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, 25,000 to 30,000 words. Yeah, Craig, you wanted to say something?
32,000 words.
Yeah, 32,000 words. And with definitions that are appropriate for the child at that age group, right? Not complex definitions that will confuse them. Regarding whether it's required, it needs a Wi-Fi connection, absolutely. Moxie needs to be connected to Wi-Fi to operate. The voice recognition that we are doing in terms of understanding what was said, we are using a secure partner that is the only data that actually leaves the robot is this audio data, like Alexa and Google Home. It has to be Wi-Fi connected for the voice recognition to work. So Wi-Fi is necessary. What is the revenue model, sales, rental, etc.? The model that we are introducing first is a similar to ownership of a smartphone. You buy the device and then you pay a monthly subscription fee. The current introductory price we have introduced on our website at embodied.com is that we are including 1 year of service in the price of $14.99, including hardware and the monthly subscription. After the first year is over, the monthly subscription will be $59 a month. What the subscription gets you is all of the cost of operations with all the cloud connectivity that we are doing. You get continuous monthly updates of new content with new books, new activities, new exercises. You get access to the parental app, which gives you a dashboard and insights to the child's development. And your child gets access to the Global Robotics Lab portal, which is the background story for Moxie. And that's where the child can actually get inspired to do other activities with the Moxie and without Moxie. And also the child can track their own progress in terms of, like you saw, I unlocked the trophy by finishing this mission of the kindness flower. The child can see what missions they have accomplished and what missions they have to unlock further. For instance, if the child finishes another 3 books, they will unlock another major milestone. And that's a reward loop for them. Plus, there's a bunch of background stories. So I would encourage you to go to globalroboticslab.com, which is the world that Moxie comes from. And that portal is accessible to the child. Plus, every month we ship an envelope, physical package to your child with new activities and stickers and comic books and so on that are going to keep scaffolding your child's development in all of those areas that we are focused on. So it's a more of a complete ecosystem that the subscription provides you. And of course, you get over-the-air updates on software improvements as well. Anonymous attendee, how much content does Moxie have before the robot starts repeating jokes, games, etc.? So at shipment in the fall, the robot will have at least 3 months worth of content, which is 12 weeks. And we will keep adding more content before you run out of that content. And when we say 3 weeks, that means if your child just linearly, religiously every day went through the content, it would take them 3 months to consume that content. Also assuming that there's no repetition, although we see a lot of repetition. Children like routine and rituals, so they will go back and read the same book or want to hear the same story over and over again because they sort of get more nuances out of it every time they hear it again. So that's what we're going to do, and we're just going to keep adding more to it as after we launch to continue prolonging that. On the other aspect, you're asking about jokes and so on. Moxie has thousands of jokes, thousands of riddles, thousands of fun facts. So not likely that your child would start hearing the same joke or riddle very often. If the parent app connected via Wi-Fi, or is the parent connected? It's connected via Wi-Fi. So your parent app is also Wi-Fi connected. So the analytics and metrics that we collect are stored securely and encrypted using a unique key that only the parent has in the cloud. And when you have set up your account through the parent app, you connect the robot to the Wi-Fi as well, to the same cloud connection that's secure and only unlockable by your unique key that you get when you set up your parent app. And that unique key we ask you to store in a safe place. We don't even have access to that. And the reason for saving that in a safe place is that if you lost your cell phone or device that you used to provision the robot, or if the robot broke and you wanted to replace it, you do not want to start from scratch. You want the robot to restore in the same state that it was when this happened. And that unique key is used to encrypt the data so that you can decrypt it when you're restoring your robot or device. Hugh Lawson, who is the target child? Is Moxie an accelerant for children without developmental differences, or is it designed to treat particular issues? It is designed for every child. In our research, we have found that every child can benefit from social, emotional, and cognitive development. And so it's for neurodiverse children, everyone, from neurotypical to neurodivergent. We do not claim treating any particular disorder whatsoever, but we are making the robot available for every child. The age range for which we are targeting is 6 to 9, because the content is designed to appeal to children in that age range. In our testing with families that we have been working with in the last few years, we have seen appeal from 4 to 12, depending on the level of independence. There are some children that do require some hand-holding if they are not as independent as other children, in which case we see parent-child tandeming with the interaction with the robot, which they find still very useful, because if the child is having difficulties in getting stuck, the parent is there to coach them through it. And Moxie is still providing the environment and activities as well as the measurements to be able to benefit those children until they get level of independence that they can approach it on themselves. The other parameter is that your child or the child to use this product has to be verbal to be able to interact. Obviously, verbal interaction is a requirement, prerequisite for interacting with the robot. Rick Rogers, how often does Moxie update? How significant will the changes be per update? It's very hard to say. In terms of the content, we are expecting to update at least once every 2 months to keep adding new bulk of content into there. In terms of software, I would imagine we will want to update at least once a quarter. And I would imagine major updates every 6 to 12 months and minor updates every quarter. But to be fair, we haven't done that yet, so I don't want to overpromise, but that's the expectation we have. Does each robot customize to the child using it? It does, to a certain level, as I described earlier. I believe I answered this question in terms of learning to recognize your child, the interaction patterns with your child, as well as the measurement of the skills of your children, and then using that information to focus on scaffolding areas where your child needs it the most. Scott Taylor, how does Moxie respond to challenging questions like, say, a family pet dying or the child asking about something scary in the news? A very good question. Some deep debates we had in the company during the formation of the Moxie project and implementation and all these things. There are certain topics that we feel it would be not our responsibility to respond to. So at this point, we have decided not to address those and hope that the parents can address it. Down the road, as we have deployment in the market and see feedback from the user base and community that will be working with us and growing, we have options to potentially flag some of these issues in the parent app, but leave the responsibility with the parents. We do not want to obviously do things that are super complex, and we would be responsible to take action where we do not have full context, whereas the parent would have it. And these are conversations that I'm sure the parents would want to be. We also do not want to be spying on the child. So this is a fine balance we have to find, and hopefully with counsel from our parent communities can help us figure out how to thread that. For now, we have decided not to take on that responsibility. And this is Sunil. Hi, Sunil. How are you doing? Sunil actually has been a part of helping us with the animations of Moxie. Glad to see you joining our webinar here. Does Moxie recognize a particular child? Yes, it does. Moxie recognizes your child. That's part of the learning process, is that Moxie will do image modeling of your child and learn to recognize your child. Annie, I'm both extremely curious and want one. great. And the same time sudden that there is a need for Moxie. While may not be your primary focus, what is Embodied doing to reinforce that Moxie is not a replacement for real life social emotional development? Yeah, I mean, we completely agree with you and acknowledge that, but also your first part of the question, we are aware that there is a need for it. And what we are trying to do is definitely not to replace the need for parents. That's we are all, most of us in the company are actually in the management team are parents ourselves, and there's nothing that can replace that. What we are hoping to do is to provide a tool that can help your children enhance their social emotional skills, which is currently being subsumed to some extent based on many studies in the recent 4 or 5 years showing that too much screen time, too much social media can actually delay some of the social and emotional developmental skills. And also in the most recent couple of years, CDC reports showing that depression and anxiety and even unfortunately suicide rates are skyrocketing among teens. Hopefully we can provide a platform that avoids that those forces or influences that are contributing to those outcomes. And we believe that is the intention by which we have started this company and wanting to help build a platform that supports that. Scott Taylor, was the Click-Clack-Moo book already programmed into Moxie, or did Moxie understand? Moxie has certain books that it has curated content for. So it recognizes the book. You could actually, by the way, even show it the book and it will recognize it. You can say what the title is or show it the book and it will recognize it. So it has knowledge about understanding to recognize the book. And it has curated content that will discuss topics related to the book. For books that we have not created curated content yet, or books that may not be on our radar, the robot will still be able to play the soundscape in the background to make it interesting for the child. The robot can still measure vocabulary and all these things. That's completely independent of the book. But it will not have the curated sort of comprehension question and answer part. So that's sort of the current status of things. The number of books will increase over time as we start creating more and more curated content for this. Scott Taylor, does Embody receive data back from Moxie? And if so, what kind of data are you receiving? So as I mentioned, the personally identifiable information is limited to be only on the robot. The part that is necessary to be on the parent app is completely encrypted, and we do not have access to any of that. It's encrypted by that unique key that the parent has. Any other aggregated information, metadata that we are collecting about, for instance, that which of the books is the most popular book? What is the average number of books that kids read during the week? What is the number of vocabulary like, and all these things? So at that aggregate level, we do look at that information that allows us to keep improving the product and our content direction as well as the technology itself. The only piece of information that you would say we are collecting for machine learning purposes, to be for full disclaimer, and this is, by the way, in our privacy policy online already, we do store some of the transcription of the conversation to be stored for teaching our machine learning algorithms to be better at the conversational AI that we have built. And after the training, that data is discarded. The audio file never stored. The video and camera images are only processed on the robot. The only thing from the camera that is stored in the cloud encrypted for the parent is actually the model for face recognition that is being used for Moxie to recognize your child. We made a very important decision early on because privacy was top of mind for us before the inception of the company. was to make sure that, because images are tough, right? Transcription is a different story, because when you transcribe it, there is no voice intonation or anything to do imprint to recognize who it is. But with images, there could be people in the background that we don't have any permission from the parent for interacting with the robot and all these things. There's so much information in the image, right? We decided early on that we are going to embed all of the vision processing on the robot, and it stays on the robot. So all the processing happens on the robot. And on top of that, we have done everything we can in working with strong partners in security to encrypt everything on the robot, that even if the robot were to be hacked, and again, we have put provisions in there to minimize the risk of that it would be even more hurdles for them to jump through to getting to the camera itself. Could Moxie be used in a classroom setting with one child at a time? It would definitely be used for one child at a time. To have it in a classroom and interacting with many people talking to Moxie at the same time, it will not be a very good interaction, at least not for now. Down the road, whether we will be able to expand the capabilities of our software to be able to interact with multiple people. Yes, do we have any immediate plans? We currently do not have. And could Moxie recognize all students? Not in the current state. Theoretically, yes, it could be expanded to be able to do that. Hugh, are you considering adapting Moxie for other demographics, older people, working on memory as well? Yes. Obvious, I think next steps for us are exploring applications in other areas where we can help people with loneliness and social isolation, and maybe even potentially memory restoration and other challenges that are faced across the population, particularly, as you mentioned, the older population wanting to live independently in their own homes. Again, no immediate plans. Each of these efforts is a major moonshot to bring to life. For now, we are solely focused on Moxie and helping children with social emotional development. But our mission of the company, as a whole mission of the company, is to help enhance human experiences, especially in the vulnerable areas of the society. Rafia, can Moxie read stories to kids? Moxie does tell stories to kids. Again, in the spirit of social emotional development, we did not want to be yet another informational device where you can just command it to say, do this, do that, do that. The notion of having the child read to the robot, again, this technology doesn't exist, but also the model has not been very much pursued to have turn the tables and have the child read the story. And they actually enjoy reading to Moxie and having Moxie interact with them, the story. And of course, it helps them with reading and improving that. But also, as you saw with a conversation towards the end of the story, it can also help them with comprehension and exploration of some of these difficult topics. But to answer to your questions, yes, there are some stories that Moxie will offer to your child and tell them, which are primarily based on the Global Robotics Lab background story, which I will encourage you again, go to that website and look it up. And it's very intriguing for children. Those stories are also tailored around helping with this understanding of these developmental targets that we are talking about, these notions of complex social notions of making mistakes, having bad interaction with someone, saying something wrong to upset someone, or being upset by someone that said something. The stories are helping the child explore these concepts. How many stories are already in its memory? Craig, do you have an answer to that question? Oops.
Sure. The stories are continuing to evolve. Something that is, I think, important to underscore, and Paolo's been doing a great job of talking about the Moxie not being like a device, not being like an entertainment platform. It's really meant to be a springboard to life. So we use storytelling episodically. And again, we're trying to give kids bite-sized content that's meaningful and engaging that also encourages thoughtful reflection and socialization of ideas that are helpful in building life skills beyond academics. So every week with the theme, there'll be a chapter story that will play out over the course of the week and a bedtime story at the end of the week, which is related to some of the things that are being discussed.
Thank you, Craig. And I personally have to jump off in a minute to for a different meeting. Let me see if I can answer maybe one of the easy questions here. Could Moxie recognize a family pet, say a dog? No, not currently. How many sensors are motors? 7 motors. It has the sensors we talked about. It has microphone arrays. It has touch sensors. So if you can touch the hands and hug Moxie, it detects those, as well as if you pick it up, we have accelerometers that can allow it to measure it. So last question, I wanted how Moxie evaluates the development of a child. We will take much longer to evaluate. We do not evaluate, we provide metrics. So the metrics, I would refer you actually to our website for more detail on that. As a matter of fact, in a week or two, we are going to release a blog by our chief scientist and our head of child development experts, Nikki and Stefan, who are going to write a blog about this. So I'd encourage you to come back to our website to read more in depth about it. It wouldn't be fair for me to try to rush an answer to this question. That's super important. So with that, I'm sorry I can't take more questions, but I do encourage you to please stay in touch. Send us questions. There'll be a survey afterwards, and you have our contact information to support. Thank you so much for participation. We are very excited to be sharing this with you and look forward to continuing interactions.